Go! Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the DSoG vlog. This is episode 8. My name is Brooks, my in-game name is Camel Hunt, and I'm joined here by one of our regular co-hosts, and then also another one of our good friends that you've probably seen in a few videos. If you're watching, you guys introduce yourselves.
I'm Ken, my in-game name is Beckraj, and to my left is...
Jared Caveman Allen.
Oh, wow, last name too.
All right. Well, Carl told us in the middle of the day that he was not feeling well, so
May
good
he
thoughts
rest in peace.
go to Carl. Well, he's
Rest
not
in
dead.
spaghetti,
thankfully.
never forgetty.
Do that. Rest in spaghetti. Yeah, he just good thoughts to Carl that he feels better. Hopefully, is on a video.
I'll
sometime
charge
soon.
some energy to the crystals to wish him well. And give him good healing vibes.
Sure.
I'm trying a new medicine.
Yeah.
Oh, alternative medicine?
Yeah, alternative medicine, dude.
Just go smoke some peyote and be good. That's all you need to do. All right, well, so games this past weekend were pretty good. In comparison to the beginning of the year, games are getting pretty interesting, pretty fun to watch. I'm having a lot of fun watching games. What did you guys think of games this past weekend?
I caught most of them. My parents were in town, so I wasn't able to watch all of them. But from what I saw, it was nice. I was worried after the EU games with the banner meta, which we'll get to later. But thankfully, North America didn't fall prey to that, and we had some really action-packed games. It's nice to see the teams are coming into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, from what I saw this weekend, I think that this banner meta could result in some interesting siege comps, I guess, like bringing back some champs that I like to see and some game styles that I like to see.
Yep.
Not necessarily like farm until 20 and wait for everything to happen, but more, working around the map and not necessarily just like snowball out of control, I wouldn't think.
Yeah.
I mean, none of the games this weekend were exceptionally, drawn out like the beginning of the split.
That was terrible.
But I think it's gonna be interesting to see where this meta goes for the rest of the split and going into playoffs.
Yeah, and also to note, Korea begins playing on this new patch tomorrow morning. So
On
I'm sure we will
8.5
wake up
or 8.4?
8.4.
Yeah.
Korea was
Yeah,
behind.
Korea goes behind.
So NA and EU. Yeah, Carl told us last week that Korea had already played
It was the other
games
way
in this
around.
patch, and I was like, I don't think so. Yeah, EU and NA played on this new patch before Korea did. So I'm sure we'll be able to wake up tomorrow morning and see. I'd like to hopefully at least see some new picks out of Korea, some new strats, something like that. That'd be fun. But yeah, they will be on that patch. We're going to talk about the Banner of Command meta, which seems to be the thing in one of the topics of the show. But let's get into the first topic, which is a team at the bottom of the standings, tied for last place in the standings with 3 other teams.
Yeah.
I think so.
There's
I think
four teams
so.
that are 4-9. 4 teams that are 4-9. So we have Golden Guardians, which is who we'll be talking
FlyQuest.
about.
And
FlyQuest, Optic.
CLG, I
And
think.
then CLG
And
has 5 wins.
This is
Because they-
one
yeah.
game up. Yeah. So tied, a 3-way tie at the bottom of the standings. But the team we're going to focus on today is Golden Guardians. Mostly because they've actually looked pretty decent through the last 3 weeks. They've had 3 weekends in a row where they've gone 1-1. They beat Team Liquid. Was that last weekend or was it a couple weekends ago? They beat
I think it
Team
was a couple,
Liquid.
yeah.
This past weekend they beat Echo Fox. Also this past weekend they had a game against C9 that was by no means a shutout from C9. A game that you probably would have expected C9 to really just steamroll them. Same for Echo Fox, but Golden Guardians actually really put up a good game. Made it a good game. They have a couple players in Golden Guardians that are looking phenomenal. So let's just talk about this team. do we foresee them pulling themselves out of the dregs of last place and separating themselves from Optic and FlyQuest? Or do we still think that they're going to be a bottom tier team come the next 2 weeks?
Oh, well, only 2 weeks of play left.
Yeah, we've got 2 more weeks of play. My opinion, I don't think so. I don't see it happening. We said that, like this week looked pretty good for them. I'm going to counter that and say that I don't think that they looked exceptionally sharp. I think that, beating Echo Fox is, of course, going to be an achievement. They are the top of the standings, and I believe that they're number one in regards to my power rankings, how I would place them. But I think that Echo Fox just had an off week, more so than Golden Guardians had a strong week. Their Echo Fox's bot lane just fed their asses off all weekend. Altec did not look good. And they recognized it. Adrian's coming out after saying that he wishes that, and I'm not sure what's going to, bring them back. Hopefully in time for playoffs that this bot lane can get figured out. But
this weekend, I have Adrian in fantasy, man.
I had Altec, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And Phoenix.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions, though, is I actually think one of the shining pieces, at least this past weekend, for Golden Guardians was their bottom lane. I think that Matt played an exceptional weekend. I think he played Rakan in both games and looked phenomenal. And even Deftly was looking great. They beat Echo Fox. They shut down their bottom lane. And they were beating Sneaky and Smoothie through at least the laning phase. Sneaky and Smoothie being, at least in my opinion, what I would say is the best bottom lane in the league currently. So,
and to talk on that point, if you look at the overall stats of that game, Golden Guardians only took 1 tower in that entire game. And they ended, over 10,000 behind again. So it was more of C9 just didn't throw their lead. To their credit, though, the bot lane was looking really good. Contracts on that Lee Sin was really, really punishing them.
Yeah.
I think, kind of a weak point that Sneaky's been having recently. He's kind of been in a dip. But, yeah, it was almost like with that C9 game, they knew what they needed to do. But at the end of the day, they're like, oh, crap, we're Golden Guardians. We're not going to win this anyway.
Yeah.
Because C9 is still C9.
To your question of what do we the Golden Guardians roster, I'm just gonna run through them top down. Lorlo is functioning in a way that kind of he was always expected to.
I've always envisioned Lorlo. And I'm sorry, I don't want to take away your point, but I've always thought of Lorlo as being a really solid middle tier top laner. He has the potential to be very middle tier, but he's not going to break into that he's not going to break into that. It's hard to into that Huni, into that Huni someday Haunter kind of area. Darshan. He's not going to break into that, but he's going to be a solid 5th, 6th behind.
But when he was originally picked up by Liquid, they saw him as a talent they could mold into their vision and their roster, which ultimately didn't happen. And the 2 pickups they had that split were Lorlo. Actually, it was 3 because I think Dardoch, that was his first.
Yeah, Lorlo, Matt, and Dardoch.
Right.
Yeah.
And Dardoch and Matt were the talents they took. That they said, these are our North American talents. Lorlo's good, and we know he's going to be consistent. Now, Dardoch got all the praise for being this incredible jungler, but he was also toxic. Matt had to deal with Piglet, which is an issue in and of itself. And Lorlo, he had that one split, but then people started adding more to the top lane talent pool, so he started getting overshadowed by all these imports coming in. And so I think he's just now hitting that point where he's a solid middle of the road top player. Contracts, they really lucked out getting contracts on this squad. I think to show the Lee Sin in the way that he did on the patch that everybody was like, oh my god, Lee Sin's dead, you can't play Lee Sin because there's no more Tracker's Knife. To show that Lee Sin can be played at a higher level, I think that speaks to how great Contracts is.
I think that this has been a really good split for North American junglers. For the majority of the split, there hasn't been too much variety in the champions that are good. You look at the Sejuani, Skarner, Zac, Jax, and it's mostly been about which teams' junglers can take these picks and still do impressive things with them, like guys like Contracts and Acadian, and Lyra being able to pick up the Skarner kind of as a
bridge.
Yeah, like a bridge between their traditional aggressive role and being able to make these picks work. You also saw Lyra in particular, and a number of other players on the Sejuani taking Ghost Ward or Zombie Ward, being able to just like run around the map and out vision the other jungler. Yeah.
And let's also remember that Contracts brought out the Volibear versus Echo Fox, which was
and it looked he looked very, very good. He was being super aggressive early. Just making that bot lane.
I mean, I think it's probably safe to say that Contracts is one of the most mechanically talented junglers in the league. Maybe not mechanically talented, but as far as just making big plays, making flashing plays.
That Lee Sin game, he was missing some cues.
No, but I agree with you.
But he did have some good plays to make like Jensen flash.
To kind of like derail the topic to North American junglers, though, I don't think Contracts is like this incredible mechanical jungler versus. I mean, the other three that I look at is Mike Young, Acadian, and Dardoch. I think of the three of them in Contracts as like premier North American junglers. I don't feel like that they're all that far apart from each other in terms of mechanics. If I was going to rank them, I would put Contracts last, but not by a large margin. That I think it just shows you how great our jungle talent pool is.
Yeah.
In North America.
For sure. And I think we really got a really good. Yeah, I think we got a really good taste of that last year.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it's unfortunate that the meta was just kind of shit. Or I guess not. It just wasn't flashy, But that's how the meta goes for everyone. It changes. It's just
and I played Varus and Jhin lethality last year, and just
but not even like good Varus. No, not even good Varus.
They just
like.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about. I think the only guy we haven't really talked about High.
Yeah.
As far as for this team yet. So High, at least the way that I've always thought about High and the way that I think that he's functioning on this team is less of a mid laner and more of as just a leader and a shot caller for the team. Like, I mean, let's be fair. Like, High had a really, really good split in spring of last year.
Yeah. Because
he was just tearing shit up. Like, maybe that was just him excited about being back in the LCS. But obviously FlyQuest wasn't great in summer. And then Golden Guardians hasn't been great. This split in High, I'm pretty sure, is probably throwing up some of the worst numbers for mid laners in the league.
I think he, at least 2 weeks ago, had the worst stats in the mid lane.
Yeah. So, what I'm looking to ask is, like, do they need High? Is High simply there for the shot calling role and just to be the person that sits in the mid lane and clears waves? Like if we had somebody who was like a hot shot mid laner, say we had a hotshot mid laner that maybe doesn't have like the respect of someone like Bjergsen. Say we had like a Phoenix.
Yeah.
In the case of Golden Guardians, do we think that this team would be getting progressively better like they have been, or do you think that they would have kind of stayed stagnant? Or do we think it's because of High that they're getting progressively better?
It's a tough question to answer because I think because of High they're getting better. I think outside of game he's a great leader to him. All the other players have talked about how High has helped them grow. But I don't know if he's super impactful in the game. I feel like he's in the same boat as Lemonation, where he's kind of outgrown his stage time, but he has so much knowledge and so much to give a team that he has to be more integrated in the team process than just your average coach or analyst is. That these pseudo coach players like Lemon and High can do too much to the actual players on the Rift. And this is just kind of spitballing here. Maybe we're getting to a point where we're going to add a sixth man to a roster. That there's going to be a sixth man in the comms. Because on a basketball field, and you have a coach on the sideline, who knows what happens moving forward. I don't know. Yeah, I've seen a couple interviews and some tweets and stuff where people say, should players like High be included as a sixth man where they sit, on the side and they make calls. So that's where I think High would shine, and that's what I think he can bring to a team.
So I agree up to a point. I think that Golden Guardians' key to success. First of all, High is always going to be valuable. It's the High effect. Just bring him onto a team, and he's just going to do what High does, like he did with Cloud9 and the teams, that he had. I think... I don't know if this is their plan exactly, but I think that you keep High for this year, and then next year bring Bob Quinn in. He's their academy team mid laner. Was the hottest prospect coming out of the collegiate scene. He's been talked about for a long time now, and I think that if he is the prospect that they're looking at, I think that they can groom him to be a mid laner to take over for High at the end of this year. I think that you need that High effect with these young players like Lorlo, like Matt, and contracts, just to kind of give them some confidence to take over once he's gone. But then once he's gone, you're going to bring in an even younger mid laner, and those three guys need to not be as young anymore and be able to take control for when he's not there.
Let me address that real quick, because you mentioned Lorlo and Matt as being these younger players. But when we think about it, these guys, this is coming in their third year of professional play. That's not a rookie any longer. In my opinion, that's not even really a young player. I would say, in your second year, maybe you could still be considered a young player. But this is their third year of playing professionally. So I don't know if I would consider those guys young players anymore. The point that I'm trying to get to is that I think that Lorlo and Matt, because they're almost in a way like a package almost now. I don't know if they went to Golden Guardians as a package, but I feel like someone like Matt, I've always thought was a really, really good player. Oh, yeah. I think that Matt could be the guy that could potentially shot call for a team or be part of the comms, and I'm sure he's already part of the comms. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is I think he has the temperament, the mentality, and also the role specifically, because I think that support is just it's easier for support to be the guy that's making those large scale macro decisions. I think that he could
and
be
definitely too. I forgot
Yeah.
about definitely. He's like an actual
He's a full on rookie. But what I'm saying is, I think that Matt, if what we're saying is like they bring in Bob Quinn, or Bob, is it Bob Quinn or Bob Kin?
Bobkin.
Bobkin?
Bobkin.
Is it Q or K?
It's like Q. Yeah, it's like QIN.
Okay, so
Bobsled.
Bob Quinn.
Bobkin.
Bobsled.
Okay.
Bobsled.
Bobsled as mid laner.
But what I'm saying though is if I were to take a backseat role in say the summer, or to take a backseat role the following year, then I think Matt could fill up that space of the kind of person that they need as a leader.
So, and I think that by young, when referring to Matt and Lorlo, I think I more meant like not fully matured. I mean, because you can absolutely see that.
Especially with Matt.
Yeah.
Especially with Matt.
I think that's like the big, like they're on that edge of like being self-sustainable at least. Being able to put together possibly a 500 season.
Yeah, for sure. I think that Matt and Lorlo, I mean, Liquid was just a dumpster fire last year. I almost don't even want to like count it as being part of their experience in the LCS just because it was such bullshit. But like if you would have taken Matt and I think put him on any other team that wasn't Liquid or like, P1, I think he would have done super well. Like just wherever he was, I think he would have elevated the team to a level that they may have not have been before.
He's
So
a talent.
I don't know. Maybe I just like Matt as a person from what I've seen.
Yeah,
from
I don't
him.
know about that one.
So I don't know.
I think he's a talent, but
Yeah.
I think Golden Guardians looks like a playoff team, in my opinion. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team, but they look like one.
Yeah. Well,
At
let's
least in the last 2 weeks. I'm not saying they're going to continue. Maybe everybody else just is starting to look worse. Maybe they're just making the bridge, but I think they look like a playoff team.
I remain unconvinced. I think that they are a middle of the pack team.
Yeah, I definitely don't think they're a playoff team. Just because I feel like
They're not
playoffs
going
is-
to make playoffs.
Yeah,
I'm
I feel like
saying,
I
like,
mean, they're
there's
playing
this-
at the caliber of a playoff team.
I'm saying
Yeah.
this roster on paper
Doesn't add up.
doesn't add up, and I don't think that this roster without like at least a change in mid lane or 80 carry or maybe top could make a playoff run or make playoffs.
I don't disagree with any of this. I think they looked good enough over the weekend, but I also understand where Jared is coming from entirely. We got anything else on this, or we want to move on to the next topic?
Yeah, that was where I just wanted to end it off on.
We'll talk about
All
that.
right, so the next topic we're going to talk about, we're going to highlight a player has kind of been.
You can keep going.
All right, what we've been doing a lot recently is for our second topic, we've been highlighting a player. And this week we wanted to highlight Dardoch. So this is a guy who has one of the more interesting stories in the league. Came into Liquid in 2016, was immediately lauded as this incredible jungler and showed it for the entirety of his first year. Then obviously we had the movie that Team Liquid put out with Breaking Point. Honestly, expertly done movie where they basically framed Dardoch as being the worst human being on the planet. Very much a villain in the movie. That was very well done by whoever made that film. It was pretty well done. After that, he ended up on. Oh my god.
Oh, wow.
Oh my god.
That was-
After that, he ended up on Immortals for the spring of 2016. There was some footage near the end of that split where Poe Belter was telling Dardoch that he didn't like the way that he was talking to him. So it made it seem like Dardoch was being Dardoch on Immortals. He moved over to CLG for the summertime. Didn't finish the split out with them. Was replaced by a complete rookie jungler. And then somehow found his way back on the Team Liquid for like the last 2 or 3 weeks of the season. And then somehow has found his way to Echo Fox now. in the 2017 season and has been very, very successful. So let's just talk about this guy first of all. What are your thoughts on Dardoch as a person? Before we get into the player part, let's just talk about Dardoch.
Did you guys see Liquid's thing last week where they talked about how they built their roster? And they were thinking about switching Dardoch to ADC so that way they could get Xmithy, Poe Belter, and Ole and Impact and keep Dardoch because they were like, we valued him that much. But he was outvalued by Double It. So that was the only.
I might have liked to see that.
You should go look at it because their
that's
coach
nuts,
was like,
dude.
we were thinking about asking him, and they said like Dardoch was down for it, and then Steve said we got Double Lift, and we just like trashed the whole thing because they were like Double Lift is the guy that we want, not Dardoch.
I might have actually liked to watch that. It would have made for some good league.
Yeah,
that would have been.
It's pretty interesting. So when you're like he somehow made his way back to Liquid, and it's just like, yeah, for some reason Liquid still valued him. I mean, Immortals is my
after watching Breaking Point, the way that he was talking to Steve basically backstage at the LCS, and I was just like, if I was Steve, you're done. Like I would not have put up with that shit. I would know.
But at the same time, like, this is like one of those things where I just like don't like Steve because Steve for the longest time also dealt with Piglet and like gave Piglet everything that he wanted. It was like Steve just like finds these players that he thinks are just like his key to success in LCS, and he did that in Dardoch and he did that in Piglet. And like for sure, Dardoch may have been his key to winning LCS, but Piglet never was.
Yeah,
like maybe during like Piglet's like first split over here, maybe then. Maybe
I personally think you can build a team around Dardoch. You can't build a team around Piglet, at least in North America. I don't know what Korean stuff's like, but in North America, you can build people around Dardoch. Equifox is showing it. You can debate whether they built around Dardoch or around Huni or around both simultaneously. You can't build a team around Piglet in North America just because Piglet's language barrier and attitude are two things, whereas Dardoch you just have an attitude. It's one problem versus two.
Piglet's got a trophy.
You're
Dardoch
right.
doesn't have
but he also had a trophy,
any trophies.
He also had a trophy without a language barrier. So like you can do it in Korea. I mean I don't know how it works. But like you're overcoming one issue rather than two.
Yeah.
So I think that with Piglet, if a Korean team takes a chance on him again, they might be able to see that talent manifest itself. I don't know, but I think that it is possible in Korea. I don't think it's possible in North America for Piglet to be a key to success.
I just think that what year was it? Season 5 where C9 was just really bad. And had to make that gauntlet run.
That was
Liquid should have been there. Like as a C9 fanatic who's been loving C9 since they got into the league, Team Liquid should have had that. They should have been in that championship. Now C9 did ultimately fail with the rest of North America in the O10 week.
It happens every time. What the fuck?
I think that Team Liquid failing to make it to Worlds ended any possibility of that age of Team Liquid being able to make things work. You had, let's see, who is that roster? It was Quas, I Will Dominate, Phoenix, Piglet, X Special, I think it was.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. It ended I Will Dominate's essentially ended I Will Dominate's career, as well as pretty much Quas. He was never really relevant after that.
Also ended Mark Z's career as a coach.
Mark. It was what? It was like Mark
he was
Z.
For like 3 weeks during season 6.
It was like Mark Z, Joka Steve, who's now on TL CSGO team, I believe. He's like coaches them. and then I was like Steve, all those dudes running around hanging out with Phoenix. But I think that season 5 is just like the end of it. Like there was no way. I think that if they made it to Worlds, things might have been different, but after that, it was just like no shot. But anyway, back to Dardoch. I think that, man, he is just such a valuable asset being a homegrown talent. But with his like desire, talks about, oh, I just want to win. I just want us to win. I want to be on a team that's serious about winning. So you join Echo Fox, a team that Froggen left because they weren't serious about winning. So someone's got to be wrong here. Either this organization is, full of crap and not serious about winning, or they are serious about winning and Froggen is full of crap.
Well, who was there? Wasn't Phoenix Echo Fox's first confirmed pickup in the offseason? Am I remembering that correctly? I think Phoenix was the first person that they openly were just like, yes, we got Phoenix. He is our mid laner. And by that time, I think everybody was just like, all right, well, what the fuck's happening with Froggen? But I mean, when you look at that Echo Fox roster on paper, I see no reason why Dardoch wouldn't want to join. Like if he knew that they had Phoenix, Alltech, and Adrian,
Dardoch
I would join if I was Dardoch.
Saying, and this was before a lot of his issues on Immortals came to light, that he joined Immortals. Like he was told he was going to play with Huni. Like he wanted to play with Huni, and then at the last second, Huni was like, "I'm going to SKT," and Immortals.
Yeah, because Noah is a great person.
Right, because he was like, "Well, he recruited Huni, but Huni always said he wanted to do this, and I love him, so therefore I'm going to help the people that I recruit foster their career." I don't know what that completely is, because
good guy.
He is good guy Noah, but at the same time, he's done some things that are pretty cutthroat. Like he's done the things that you expect from an owner to do, and he's also done some things that you wouldn't expect an owner to do. So I don't know. You can't know the full story, and I support him, of course. I'm wearing an Immortals jersey right now. But I don't know. I think Dardoch just wanted to go where the top talent was to see if he could match up, and it's clearly working. As far as toxicity,
here's my question. So a lot of people are making this argument that Dardoch is not being toxic now because he's on this winning team. He's on the best team in the league. But if we can remember from 2017 summer, he was on CLG, who was at the top of the leaderboard. They were first or second throughout the majority of the split.
He was still feeding his ass off.
He was not.
Yeah, he wasn't playing well. That's an important point.
The other players were carrying him.
You saw him playing Sejuani or something like that, and he just whiffs something and dies, and you see him laughing over the over his player camera. I'm just like, what are you doing?
But here's the question though, is we look at him now, we say, oh, he's not being toxic, he doesn't have attitude problems because he's on this winning team. But last split, he was also on a winning team, and that winning team let him go.
I don't think he's not being toxic. He has said this. I think Adrian might have said something to this effect, where their style is to be like, "You're bad." That's their style. Is to say "You're bad, you messed up," and all the players are receptive. Now, I don't know if that's true, that they're actually doing that and are earnest about okay, you're right, I'm bad, all right, I'm gonna fix it. I don't know if that's actually how their team culture is, but it's what they say is going on. And Dardoch said...
This is kind of my question, though. Is Dardoch better now?
Or is he just home?
Or is
he with other people who are just as straightforward?
Because we know
you did this wrong. Fix it.
Because we know Adrian has had issues with this before. I mean, he was toxic on P1 during the spring of last year, and then he got replaced by Shady and Stunt. So we know that Adrian isn't necessarily the easiest player to play with. But I mean, as far as the rest of the roster, I don't know. But yeah, I mean,
he's pretty easy to play with. Everybody, he plays with. Everybody.
I feel like Dardoch is he's such an interesting kind of character in the league, just because he's the kind of guy that trash talks, but it's not the same kind of trash talk as the kind of trash talk that Doublelift does. With Doublelift, you know that he's memeing. And with Dardoch, yeah, he's probably memeing, but at the same time, you gotta kind of question is is this shit real or not?
But I
think
the other question you posed is is he that good?
This is where I was going. This was kind of the second half of this question. Is I feel like myself included, and probably a lot of people that watch NALCS would say that Dardoch, this split, has been the best jungler in the league. Is he? And why is he? Or why not? And if so, why not, who is better than him?
I think this split, because of the state of the jungle, you can't say if he's the best. Because, the jungle hasn't done anything that would make you believe he's the best. You can say, he's playing these Zac picks and he's great, but he's also got Huni, Phoenix, and then Altek and Adrian. He has three of the strongest. Huni's definitely the strongest top laner. Phoenix is probably top 4, and his bot lane's top 4. So, is he really shining, or is he just a good jungler and he's got awesome lanes in a meta where the jungle is all about what your lanes can do? I mean, most junglers have gone on in interviews and said the jungle's in a bad state because it depends so much about what your laners do. And if that's true, and Dardoch has said this, if that's true, is Dardoch really that good, or does he just have a great team and he's a good jungler?
Yeah, that's the question.
Because I look, in my opinion, and it pains me to say this, but I think the best jungler in the league right now is Svenskeren.
Lyra. Oh.
Lyra? Really?
Well, my second place was Svenskeren.
Okay.
I think Svenskeren's the
But
best.
I think Svenskeren's really good. I'm not denying that. I don't think Lyra
has actually impacted the map. I think Svenskeren has said, I'm teaming up with Smoothie, best support in the league, and said, we're going to make the map happen. And I don't see that from Dardoch. I see Dardoch saying, I've got Huni, I've got Phoenix, and if anything goes wrong, I guess I can rely on Altek. And, that's the perfect combination. You don't need to be a good jungler, the best jungler. You just need to be a good jungler to make that happen.
That's true. You're right.
I mean, look at Rainover.
I think that Dardoch is the best North American jungler in North America.
No. I'm not giving up on it.
So Svenskeren and Lyra are better than Dardoch. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think that.
What about my boy Meteos? Anybody gonna say Meteos is good?
No,
I'm gonna say
just
Meteos is
solid.
good. But I can
You know
understand
what?
why the other three
gonna-
are better than him.
I'm gonna tweet out a jungle ranking after this video.
Everybody loves a good tier list.
Yeah.
Everybody
No
loves
controversies. Yeah.
I think that Svenskeren found the perfect team to play on.
Yeah.
In Cloud9.
He's good. He looks really good.
Over the past 2 years, having contracts and having Meteos come back and having Rush. Mostly, I think it started mostly with Rush.
Let's get a rest in peace for Rush, because that player, Rush is my boy. I love him.
He's on KT Roster. We'll see.
Back up KC Rolster.
Yeah, back up to score.
Good luck. Good luck getting play. He should have. He should have joined Samsung Galaxy or KSV. Took over Haru's spot. That guy's a joke. And then he could play
or
behind
SKT
him.
because they're playing Blossom.
Dude, but really
Yes.
though, if Rush was on
SKT Rush would have
SKT,
been awesome.
my God. All right, well, back to Dardoch though,
But,
or back to
Yeah,
I guess just junglers.
I think that Svenskeren coming into C9 has been a work in the making, I guess. Starting to have C9's team develop around an aggressive jungler with a support like Smoothie, an ADC like Sneaky, your core three of Jensen, Sneaky, Smoothie, with an aggressive jungler and a top laner, that I guess can. I think the top laner's been kind of variable, having Ray and Impact. Impact has been able to kind of play whatever they need to plug and play. But I think that this has been a long time coming for C9. I don't think TSM made good use out of Spin Scare when they had him. I think there was too many cooks in the. I don't think they needed him. I just don't think they needed him. I think C9 could have made much better use with him. And as for Lyra, I think that Lyra, I just think he outclasses Dardoch. I just think he's better.
I think
like
he's
in
smarter.
general.
I think a good argument for why Dardoch may potentially be playing the best jungle in the league right now is like kind of what I was just alluding to earlier is like last split when he was on CLG, he had, probably one of the best bottom lanes, one of the best mid lanes, and one of the best top lanes in the league. Very much like his situation currently, and he looked like garbage. So
You're right.
here he is now. Has he just improved immensely? I don't know. Or is he just playing that much better than everyone else? I don't know. That's a good question. But I do think that he's very much a top 3 jungler in the league. I wouldn't say, I think he's like a 2-3. He's like a 2-3, and I don't really honestly know who my 1 and 2 are. I feel like it's interchangeable very much between the weekends.
I think the consensus we've got is he's good if you can keep him.
Yeah. I'd be really interested just to know because Echo Fox is one of those teams that isn't putting out any content. Like almost everybody else has something out there. Echo Fox has nothing. So that's something that I'd be curious to see is just what's going on behind the scenes with those guys because I feel like Hooney's a really nice guy. Can probably play with anybody. I feel like Alltech is probably the same. Phoenix is probably the same. I don't know. Adrian and Dardoch, they've had their problems, but maybe they fixed it. That's all I got on this one. You guys got anything else? All right, well, let's move on to our third topic. We talked about this a little bit in the beginning of the episode, but what has kind of come to dominate the meta as we saw this past weekend? And obviously, Korea yet to play on it, so maybe there's something else out there that we don't know that is going to pop up into Western play after Korea plays it because, we do the old copy and paste of whatever Korea's doing. So
I don't think there's too much to say.
is the Banner of Command meta, basically, is what we're looking at. Is we have top laners building Banner of Command. We have junglers building Banner of Command. We have supports building Banner of Command. Sometimes you got 2-3 banners on a team at one time. I don't know about 3, but you definitely have had a situation where there have been at least 2. And with the Baron buffs, with the Dragon buffs, you can have a very, very strong siege minion, basically, that can mow down a tower in like 15 seconds.
Yeah, I think it was like 8 hits or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it destroys the tower.
So the question is this, first of all, do you like this meta? Are you guys excited to watch this meta knowing that there's going to be all these Banner of Command minions in the game?
Actually, I'm more excited about it than other Siege. Because at the beginning of the season where it was like Sivir and Azir and these crazy stall comps, I like the Banner one more because it's more about objective control. Because you're not going to have the bannered up minion doing a whole lot of damage to the turret unless you also have control of Baron. So it's much more about that dance around Baron and Elder Drake. And so I actually prefer this meta to that one. And you kind of were talking about earlier about you might see different picks. I would like to see Corki make a return of this kind of control of the middle of the map with the wave push so that way you can make those runs for Baron and Elder Drake.
Corki's been doing pretty well for
He's
a
certainly
while.
like a fringe pick.
He looks great.
He's not like your top. He's not like your first pick mid laner, but he's definitely like a fifth pick if like your big 3 are out of the game.
But he can
what I mean?
work. The thing is that I think we're getting to a point where other picks might work, and we're gonna learn more about the meta on Tuesdays tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll learn a little bit more about the meta because we'll see Korea.
Yeah. What do you like this meta, Jared?
I like it a lot because I like these items like Banner of Command and like Zerat Portal, where it's like you can kind of it's an active that like actually puts something on the map that
Yeah.
like
It's an active.
diverts attention.
It's an active that is also noticeable. Does it make
Yeah.
sense? Like I play a decent amount of Dota, and one thing about a lot of the Dota items is that their actives are things that really like they matter in the game.
It's not like an ardent sensor that you just build it.
Yeah,
it's just,
like
being
it,
used throughout the rest of the
passives
game. You don't have to
matter
do
on
anything with
items
it.
in Dota. Actives matter on items in Dota, and there's not a lot of items in League where you see the active part of the item, and you're just like, man, that really has changed the game. You know what I mean? That's not so much the case with
like a Knight's Vow.
yeah, or like a Randuin's. You know, no one really notices the Randuin's slow. You know, that's not something that I particularly notice a lot. I don't build Randuin's very often because I play support, but like you know, it's just not something that I notice. But yeah, I think I like
It's
that.
a jungle top item,
Yeah.
so like.
But no, I actually really like this meta personally. I think, like what
nice.
Kim was saying, I think that it forces objective play, and I also don't think that this is a meta that can't be dealt with. Does that make sense? I don't think it's too OP because we've seen teams be super smart. By the way, super duper smart because the supports are taking minion dematerializer and they're holding onto it until they need it. But
I'm pretty
it
sure
has counterplay. That's what I'm saying. Is like it has
I'm
counterplay.
pretty sure the stat line from this weekend was 3-0, or like undefeated teams with Banner of Command against teams that didn't build it.
Really,
That's rough.
pretty much.
Pretty
What do you mean
sure.
3-0?
Against
What do you mean 3-0? Because every
Like-
single team had a banner. I bet.
not
not
every
North
single
America.
team.
So they ran the stat Sunday that North America had considerably fewer banner of commands than any other region.
I mean, there are at least 3 games where one of the teams didn't build Banner, and the team that didn't build Banner would lose the game, like 100% of the time.
Well,
That
I
makes
mean,
sense.
as far as I see it, that just shows me that the losing teams just made a mistake. As far as what I look at this as. Because they could have easily built a banner and put it at least a 50-50 chance. So I don't know why they didn't do that. I mean, obviously, this is widely known to be a strong item in the meta, so like, why would they not do that? That makes sense? Like,
Yeah.
but the point we're getting at is that I actually think there is counterplay to this meta with the minion dematerializer.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
You just can't.
And I think it's like super smart that teams are doing that. Like they figured out the counterplay, and that's one thing that everyone wants to have in League is they want to have something strong, but they want to have counterplay to it. And the banner minions are strong, but there's counterplay. So I think it's a very healthy thing, very good for the game. So we got anything else
Like a Fed
on
cat.
Banner of Command? I really like this meta. I hope we see it for a while. Anybody got anything else? All right. Well, we're going to do next up. We got our power rankings. So let's pull up the Google Doc. Our power rankings at the end
Can you send that to me? Because I don't think I have
of the
it.
week. So yeah, I'll send you the link.
Thanks.
Or I can just.
Okay, I think that for these power rankings, there's a pretty clear 1 and 2.
Oh, this is your first power rankings. Okay, so this is not it's not so much of a talking point anymore, but it used to be. The way we do it is that based on what you've seen so far in the split, how do you rank the teams finishing at the end of the regular season?
Mm-hmm.
So that might impact how you rank them, because the team that I think is the best team in the league is not the team that I would rank number 1 for our power rankings.
All right. Let's do. How about Ken? You go. You go first, my boy.
I'm scrolling down. We're in week 7. This is God. Back in. All right. So, how I think they're gonna finish?
Yes.
I think C9 is gonna finish first. Are you?
Yeah, I
you're
got
typing
you.
this in?
I got you.
Okay. I think C9 is gonna finish first. I think Echo Fox is gonna drop another 2 games, and C9 is only gonna drop 1. I think number 2 will be Fox. Number 3, I think we're gonna see Clutch.
I mean, I think
I think
these
Liquids.
yeah.
I think Liquid's gonna take their memeable 4th place.
It's so funny.
TSM's gonna slot up
It's so funny, dude.
to 5th, and 100 Thieves is gonna finish in 6th.
From here, you got
As far as the last 4, I think CLG is gonna finish in 7th. These ones are hard, but I'm gonna give it to FlyQuest, Optic, Golden Guardians. The only reason why I've ranked Optic 9th is because I think their strength of schedule is harder than FlyQuest, and they're gonna finish lower. I think they're a better team. But
All right, Jared,
they're gonna finish lower.
hit me with them, baby.
I did not do the actual math to see if these finishes were possible, but
Oh, don't worry about that.
yeah. I didn't actually
You have
get
to go to
to
school
look
for
at
math.
the. I didn't get to look at the rest of the games to see like how this would actually flush out, but so I think the pretty clear number 1. I think Echo Fox isn't gonna lose control. I think that the rest of their split doesn't look too difficult. I think that C9 is gonna finish in 2nd. Not sure if they're gonna be able to beat TSM the second go round. I think Clutch is gonna finish in 3rd. Not too much movement from them. I do think TSM is going to finish 4th. I think they're going to, I think they're going to make a little bit of ground towards the end of the season.
Spicy.
After that, TL finishes 5th with 100 Thieves, wrapping it up in 6th place.
And
as for the rest of the season, I think Optic will make a push to finish 7th. I think CLG is going to finish 8th. FlyQuest is going to finish 9th, and Golden Guardians is going to finish in last place. I think that Golden Guardians' schedule in these last 2 weeks is just going to be too difficult for them to manage much more ground from where they're at currently.
all right. Oh wait, okay, yeah. Fixed it.
So tell me about your.
All right.
Who you got for number 1?
Number 1, we're gonna go with C9. Number 1 is C9.
You boys have more faith in my team than me.
I guess so.
Hey man, I had no faith in Immortals. Last
Number
week.
2 is gonna be Fox. Number 3 is Clutch. Number 4 is 100 Thieves. Number 5 is TL. Number 6. All right, so hear me out on this one. TSM actually has a really difficult week next week. I think they play C9 and they play TL. So, as much as I would love to see CLG win 2 games in a row and get tied in 6th place with TSM, I don't think it's going to happen. So, what was I on? 5th? No, 6th. TSM,
I think so.
CLG. Wait, yeah. CLG in 7th. Optic, Fly, Golden Guard. Yes.
Golden Guardians.
Golden Guardians 10.
I mean, I guess so, man. It's those last 3. It's just like, who gives a fuck? You know, like none of these teams are doing much.
We had a 25-minute discussion on Golden Guardians.
I just looked at it. I think Golden Guardians has TSM. They've got FlyQuest, which might be the only one of those they pick up, and I think they've got 100 Thieves and Clutch. Like, I don't think that they can pick up any of those except for the FlyQuest
TSM
game.
plays Team Liquid, and they play C9 this weekend. So, if they lose both of those games, and CLG beats FlyQuest, and they beat Echo Fox, who they've already beaten once, and Echo Fox isn't looking too great. They would be tied
Yeah,
in
I
sixth
think that
place
Echo Fox.
with TSM.
I think Echo Fox's playoff positioning and playoff hopes all depend on if their bot lane can get it together.
And then
I
They
think
have-
there is
they
a
have
unit.
a
There
few
is a world when Cloud9 takes first off of them.
Oh, yeah.
But then the following week, TSM plays Golden Guardians. And they play
Golden Guardians wins.
CLG. So honestly, let's think about this. If CLG wins both of their games this weekend, TSM loses both of their games this weekend, and then CLG and TSM win their first game in week 9, they play each other on the last day of the regular split for 6th place.
4 playoffs.
That would be fucking crazy.
All right, well, I'm running out of computer battery.
All right,
so
well, let's do
let's
our predictions.
Let's do our predictions.
LawEsports.com. All right, let's look here.
Also, we get to pick one of these games, and we have a bet between you and me because you're filling it for Carl. And the loser buys the winner a drink. So
Oh no!
yes, pick her. It has to be one we
All right,
disagree on.
first game of the weekend
shake on it.
could be a good one. Clutch versus Echo Fox. Who we got?
Clutch.
I've got Echo Fox.
You think the Huni solo matchup's going to be a bigger disparity than the Apollo Hakuo versus Adrian Alta?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn on this one, but Clutch on Sunday wasn't incredibly convincing. I don't remember who they were playing, but I'm going to go with Fox. Next game, we got CLG Fly.
I've got CLG on that
If
one.
it's the CLG from this past weekend, then they can beat anybody. So that's who I'm going with.
Yeah. But I'm going to give it to FlyQuest because we've said that before, so just like, if the right team shows up, well, you know what? So I'm going to go FlyQuest.
Next up, we got Optic C9.
This is C9.
Turn off
C9
the
easy.
stream for this one. Go do something fun.
At least
Go do something fun because we all know C9's going to win.
Unless
Next,
unless they blow a 10K gold lead.
next up, we got TSM versus TL.
TL.
I've got TSM on this one, as much as it pains me to say.
Me too. I think TSM wins.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
think TL.
Yeah, dude.
I think their whole team's tilted. So I'm pretty sure TSM wins. Last game on Saturday is Hunt versus Golden Guardians.
GG. I think
Yeah,
100.
100 Thieves
Thieves,
wins.
yeah.
Easy peasy. All right, Sunday. Yep. We got Echo Fox versus Counter Logic Game.
Box.
I've
In
got
true
Echo Fox.
Counter Logic style, CLG will win. Because they're my boys. They will win. They've beaten them once. They can do it again. Next up, we got Fly versus Golden Guardians.
Fly.
I've actually got Golden Guardians in this one. I think this is the last game that Golden Guardians will win this
Yeah.
split.
I think that the winner of this one really is the viewer who turns the stream off again. But
Yeah.
Golden Guardian, I'm calling them on this one. I think they've looked pretty good recently, so I think they can beat Fly. But turn the stream back on because we got 2 juicy games in a row here. Clutch, TL.
I give it TL.
I give it to Clutch. Apollo makes an Ezreal
Oh
Alt
my
Baron steal,
God. And
won
tilts
it
the
here.
other team off the face of the planet.
This is it. All right. TL loses. I owe you a drink. Clutch. Yeah. That's it.
TL Clutch. You want to bet that one?
Yes.
I don't bet that he makes that.
No.
no.
That'd be my
Just
bet.
you're betting that Clutch wins. You're not betting that the Barons.
Yeah,
I got
You're
Clutch on
betting
this
Clutch
one.
wins.
I don't have a lot of faith in TL,
I'm gonna go
and
TL.
I don't like Steve. So, yeah. I just don't like Steve.
Yeah, but I like Immortals players, so like I gotta.
I like all of the players that they have. I feel like they've just been corrupted by the Team Liquid organization, so can't support them as much anymore. We
The
got
big one.
El Clasico. I'll say this is El Clasico now because, you know,
CLG.
Yeah, that's still El Clasico version 1. This is El Clasico version 2. We got TSM versus C9. Who wins? This is going to be juicy.
I go C9.
I want to see C9 win, so I'm going to say C9. I want to see C9 win.
I want to see them win too, but I
want to say C9 win so that we have something interesting.
I'm going with
Gonna
C9.
do
I'm
it.
going with my heart.
They
Coming
look
up
so
with-
good. Like, Sven Skaren's going to dumpster
Bro.
Mike Young.
I'm going with my heart. I'm going C9.
Like,
And the final game of the weekend, Optic versus
Optic Gaming.
100 Thieves.
Optic Gaming wins the rivalry.
I'm
All
taking
right?
100 Thieves.
Hashtag
Yeah.
Greenville.
Yes, I'm taking 100 Thieves.
This is one of those things where the rivalry will surpass the actual players and everything, and Optic will say they started it all.
100 Thieves wins. Easy peasy. Come on, kid. Pull your head out your butt, dude. Pull your head out.
Y'all hate. No. Hex Z over.
All right. Well, that's all we got for this episode. Thank you guys for tuning in. Check out the rundown videos that we've been making. We may be changing that format up a little bit. We're always working to improve here on the DSoG vlog. So that format may be changing, but those videos were fun to make. I enjoyed them. Hope you guys enjoyed watching them. Check those out. DSoG vlog number 6 has disappeared into the ether. We have no idea where it is. It is somewhere on someone's computer. It's gone. So I'm sorry that you missed that one. But here's episode 8. Have a good time.
And it's gone.
Have a good time with this one. And wish Carl to feel better.
Play Lucian.
I'm sure he'll feel better pretty soon. But subscribe to our channel.
May he rest in peace.
Like our videos. Comment. Show your friends. Follow us on Twitter. We have our own Reddit. We have a subreddit. We got it all. We love you.
Smash
love
that
us.
like button.
Join the revolution. Hashtag Dirty South Gaming. Great to see you guys. Peace out. Golden Age.
Golden Age.
Good night. Stop recording. Stop recording.